Hello, we're back already. We all know how much you missed us. We are doing our body slams and drop kicks, the after show, and we're gonna deal with an interesting topic today. We're gonna talk about underrated wrestlers.
Oh, where shall we start?
Well, I was talking about him earlier today, so I'm gonna start with Jimmy Wang Yang.
Oh, well, so much potential, and you could say he was severely underrated. But then again, a lot of WWE stars are. There's only, I mean, I always felt Farouk was severely underrated, and he was never really WWE champion, and he should have been. He was WCW champion, but he should have been because he was that good.
Him and JBL always worked really well together, but Jimmy Wang Yang definitely did some of the best moonsaults, had some of the best moves in the ring, was really entertaining, and especially when he started tagging with Shannon Moore, I I just feel bad that their team never got over because they were really amazing together. They were doing the whole cowboy gimmick. It was something
Yeah,
different and interesting.
a certain Englishman friend of mine, Mr. William Regal, has always been one of the best, whether it be a heel or face. He actually could talk a good talk like he did against Triple H that time. He should have been world champion. Granted, there was reasons why he wasn't, but he should have been world champion. It doesn't matter whether it was WCW, WWF, or WWE. He still should have been champion.
William Regal to this day is still one of my favorite heels. He just had the look, he had the attitude, and when he won King of the Ring, like that was his year. And I feel like they should have put the belt on him, like no matter what, because when he took out JB Noble, that knee when he just took his head off practically, like there was no one meaner and there was no one better. And when he went to ECW to take on Christian, there was no better heel to put him against.
Although the one thing I did feel sorry for him was in WCW was trying to make Bill Goldberg look good.
Yeah,
That was probably the worst experience of his life. Trying to showcase a 6 minute match with Bill Goldberg, trying to make him look good when Bill doesn't even know the ins and outs of pro wrestling. I bet he still doesn't now and he's, 50 years old over?
I still remember in Jericho's book when he was talking about all the stuff he was doing to annoy Goldberg, and Goldberg just wasn't having it.
Yeah, very, very thick skin, that one. Shame he had a thick skinned brain as well because he never really learned anything else, did he?
Nope.
Who else?
Kennedy.
Uh, well, technically, he's been world champion. So, is he classed as unfated even though he's been world champion?
I think he's technically underrated because outside of Impact, he hasn't really gotten the spotlight in a while. And WBE, they only put the U.S. title on him. And then when he started getting momentum with Orton, they just dropped it. Because I loved his feud with William Regal.
Yeah. You know why they dropped him, don't you?
I heard it was because he accidentally hurt Orton during one of the matches, and it just didn't end well for him.
Yeah. I think it was something like he back suplexed Orton wrong. It wasn't his fault because it can happen to anyone. And basically, Orton was the reason that he got literally lost it after that. I mean, even in the match, when I think it was Orton RKO'd him, he actually shouted stupid about 3 times at him. It's like it's a little botch. It's not as if he actually killed him. But yeah, that is apparently the reason why Kennedy literally went downhill at WWE, even though he had everything going for him.
Because I feel like they need Kennedy now. Because you need that one big mouth guy on your roster that can really get attention, and he'd be perfect to come back right now.
Because there isn't really that many, is there? I mean, yeah, Jericho is one, but he's getting on 50. In fact, he is 50. There isn't Dwayne Johnson has long since gone. Triple H has retired, and even he had a great sense of humor in him when he was in the ring. Shawn Michaels has gone, obviously. I don't even know who there is anymore that really has that sort of charisma that Kennedy and the others had.
I don't think there's many. Maybe I feel like Bobby Roode should have
He
been a
can be
lot
quite
higher
funny.
than he is now.
Yeah. Bobby Roode can actually be quite funny when he wants to be. Granted, he is always serious, but here in Austin Aries, and we actually went through this on Friday's chat with Simon. There was one match when they came over here one year, and all it was Austin Aries versus Bobby Roode, and they were trying to out Eddie Guerrero each other. And then while one was sort of like play acting, the other one was basically trash talking. And what made it even worse was the fact that I was trying to actually video it all, and they made me laugh so much. So it was like my hand was constantly shaking. It's kind of like they are actually capable, him and Austin Aries are actually capable of having humour, even though majority of the time it doesn't feel like it. But just, it seems like those days have really long gone, aren't they?
It is, because now it just seems like it went from doing the best matches and most entertaining characters to how do I protect me when it comes down to it.
I mean,
And
even
I feel like we need Kennedy, I think, more than ever. Like we lost CM Punk and we need that loudmouth rebel to come in and just like cause trouble.
I'm glad you brought that up, because Punk actually made me laugh in his feud with Triple H when Stephanie went to shake his hand. He went, "I'm not touching that. I know where it's been." It's like, yeah, anyone who's got a wrestling brain knows where that's been, and I wouldn't shake it.
CM Punk, people person.
Definitely. That's why Chicago still chants his name, because he's so loved, and not to mention, I bet every time they go over there, they must think, "Oh God, we got to endure another CM Punk bloody promo of about
They'll
15
always
minutes."
have to.
Yeah. We said Regal, haven't we? I kind
Yep.
of Can we count Taz? Because I know he dominated in ECW, but he didn't really get that much of a look in WWE.
You could include Taz because like his WWE run wasn't that big. Heck, you can include Tommy Dreamer almost until near the end of his WWE run.
Yeah. Oh, well, RVD is definitely not underrated. In fact, he can't. As much as I love RVD, I still think he was underrated. Even though he literally stole the show, no matter where he went, I still think he was a bit. He was. I'm sure he was sidetracked, not sidetracked, and shortchanged somewhere in the world title department.
RVD when he came back to WWE last time, he really should have gotten a world title reign.
Yeah. I know they've been super successful, but I still think Kaz and Kazarian, Kaz and Christopher Daniels, sorry, I still think they're underrated, even though they've done so much in their careers. But I say, didn't you say once that Daniels had been world champ before?
He's been world champion in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, but not anywhere else. All those years of an Impact, he should have had a proper good world title one. It's just a shame. I mean, I know to be honest with you, there is probably hundreds we could name, but it's kind of like when you're trying to think and you can't think of any names, it is actually kind of hard. We could say, I have always said that AOP was severely underrated.
I think Alex Shelley's underrated as well because like when he got that X Division title, he was running with it, and I feel like he should have gotten to win the world title just like Chris Sabin. Chris Sabin I would consider underrated because they gave him a short title reign after building him up so much,
Yeah.
and then they just did nothing with his reign. And he's an amazing talent. He's one of the like day one Impact guys, and yeah, I feel like he deserved better.
Do we think Abyss is underrated?
Abyss is a mixed bag
He
situation
is, yeah.
because he was a total monster at one point, and then they started that whole kind of Hulkamania thing with him, and then the Foley thing with
Yeah.
him. I think Abyss is kind of stuck in flux. So I would consider back in the day when he was the full on monster, he
Yeah.
was underrated, and then he just kept getting the short end of the stick or the
Now,
short end of
yeah.
the Lucille.
Now, I'm going to count the Dudley Boys as underrated. And before anybody says, "Why are you saying he's underrated?" They're underrated because all they were to the WWE is tag team experts. That's it. Bully proved when he went to Impact, he was more than capable of running a company. He didn't get that with WWE. Him and Devon didn't get any serious singles pushes. That is why I still think they're underrated in singles to this day. Even though Bully won the Impact World title, and believe me, I spent my fair share of I spent my fair share of Januaries when they used to come over listening to Bully, but he's still one of the best trash talkers there ever is.
I really wish they brought him back, but I heard because of the Be a Star thing, they couldn't really have a bully character on the roster.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you have Orton punting people in the head, so like
Yeah, where's the line drawn, and when is it going over the line? That's the problem. Can we think of any? I know there's a lot. There is too many, to be honest. Could we say Brian Cage is underrated? Because I've looked ever since I watched Impact and I've seen him in it. I've absolutely loved that guy.
Brian Cage really got on a roll in Lucha Underground. I think has a lot to do with his feud with Johnny Mundo.
The guy is literally a machine. He's built like one. He acts like one, and I'm not sure. I think his promo skills aren't too bad. But then again, that's why you put Taz in this corner, because Taz is one of the best trash talkers that there is. You put him and Buddy Ray in a room, in a plexiglass room, and one of them is not allowed to come out until they out trash talk the other. You'd be in there for bloody days. They would be. They literally, one of them would have to say, right, do you know what? We're both going to quit because I'm starving. I'm nearly dying here, because we could do this all day.
I think Ricochet is also an underrated one.
Oh, the only man I know who can make a moonsault as beautiful as it is. I didn't even think the X Division existed in WWE until I saw him.
The Cruiserweight division also isn't at the level where it should be. But Ricochet really got the short end of the stick. Like, the fans love him. They all wanted to see him succeed and hit the next level. And then they fed him the Brock. And it's weird after a while, seeing all the guys who want to see succeed getting fed over and over. It gets to the point where you would just want to change the channel because you know what's going to happen.
Yeah. It's like Cedric Alexander. He impressed so much the fans wanted him to be signed. Hunter signed him. Where is he now? Not hardly doing anything.
That's the problem. They hit a point where they had too much talent, didn't know what to do with, and even with all these shows, they still don't know what to do with half of them.
Considering the three co-hosts of us, we could actually run a proper organization because we know how this business works. I mean, we do eFed wrestling, for God's sake. We sort of have an idea how pro wrestling works.
We're still figuring it out, but
we're still there. All we need now is a billionaire. We could probably run a company a hell of a lot better than WWE could. Big boast, I know. Big boast, I know, but I actually think we could.
I gotta talk about this guy because he was my favorite indie wrestler for a long time. Cassius Ohno is probably the most underrated talent.
He was not used enough in WWE. He really was not.
They should have had Cesaro and him team up and form the Kings of Wrestling because they were one of the best tag teams around, even down to like Pro Wrestling Noah, Ring of Honor, Shakara.
Either way, you can put Cesaro on that list because that guy is something else. He can't even get out.
Like one of the best, and he should have gotten more. But his tag team is slowly gaining momentum. He's becoming more of a mouthpiece.
Yeah, he kind of suffered when the bar broke up because him and Sheamus were absolutely brilliant.
That best of 7 series they had.
Yeah, but it literally went and it was like, yeah, the winner of that gets reward. It's like, well, what's happened now because we can't get some. Oh, it's all right. You can both have a tag team title shot. It was kind of like, well, why didn't you just give us that instead of going through 7 matches of hell?
Exactly.
Can we say Keith Lee is underrated? Because I really like him.
I thought he's off to a pretty good start with the amount of matches he's had in the spotlight that's quickly on him.
I think he is. I know it's might not be a popular opinion, but I still think he's underrated because of his size and what he can do.
I also feel like with them covering Keith Lee up too, it's not needed.
Yeah, his NXT fans didn't like that at all.
But I'm also worried, like when Drew McIntyre comes back, what's going to happen with Keith Lee?
Oh God, yeah. To be fair, you can't really bury him because he just beat Orton cleanly, so you can't do that. I'm more worried about. I know this probably won't happen, but I'm more worried about Orton and his progress because he's just lost 2 pay-per-views on the spin. But one could think of it as another rematch of Orton and McIntyre, and the fact that it's helped put Keith Lee over.
It could be really good. I think Dolph Ziggler's also really underrated.
He's been misused.
Because he was doing, like, past pay-per-views, he was doing double duty. He was having amazing feuds for the Intercontinental Championship. He had a great feud with Edge for the world title.
Yeah, and then he got speared out of his head by Goldberg, literally.
Yep, if they gave him like 5 minutes, he could have gave like an amazing match.
And he's still got lots. He's still got a lot to give. All right. I still think John Morrison is underrated. In the WWE, he is. Everywhere else, he isn't. And I still think Miz is a bit underrated. Yes, he's been WWE champion. Yes, he's this, that, and the other, yada, yada, yada. But what exactly have they done? They are one of the best tag teams. They're one of the best trash talkers. Yet, where are they?
When you put them together, though, like there's no one better as a duo. Those two are amazing when it comes to entertainment, when it comes to in-ring action. And I feel like they should have been when the COVID happened and everything. They should have been higher up on the match card.
Yeah. I mean, John Morrison's 40, but yet look at this. Look at this body he's got. Look at the shape he's in.
You
He's
can't tell
got.
he's 40.
Yeah, you can't tell
Like
that at all, can you?
I would have sworn he was still in like his 30s or something, because like that man doesn't age.
I know. He's like the male equivalent of Rachel Stevens. And what I mean by that, there's a singer over here who used to be in S Club. She still looks. She's about his age actually. She looks absolutely as beautiful now as she did in 99 2000. She has not aged a day, and it's kind of like I really want to know how they get to be so young still, and they're older than me even. Even I won't look that good when I'm 40. I
And
probably have lost.
Miz,
I probably have
and
lost all my
Miz
hair by
deserves
then.
so much more.
Yeah. I still think Kofi's underrated. He spent 11 years in the doldrums. He should have maybe another title run, maybe.
Kofi really should have had a bigger feud with Brock. When he lost that belt, Kofi should have been chasing that belt like a madman. Brock should have been taking on the New Day.
But they killed him, literally.
Yep.
Although I will admit, Lesnar versus Big E would have been an interesting match.
Oh, it would have been amazing.
Oof, so many to pick from when I can think.
Xavier Woods,
He is not. He's hardly been used
he's been underutilized, and
a
I love
lot.
Bobby Roode, but that U.S. title tournament, Xavier Woods should have went over. That's the main person everyone wanted.
Yeah, he might get his shot. Yeah, it just depends when he comes. Well, when he comes back, he's injured at the moment, isn't he?
I think he's been out almost a year, and that's why he's been popping up on other places, getting opportunities to host stuff.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, will he come back?
I'm pretty sure he'd come back. He loves WB. He loves wrestling. I'm pretty sure he would come back.
I hope he does. Oh God, who else is there? We can't really say anyone from AEW because everyone's getting a fair crack at the whips. So it is a bit hard, actually.
Yeah, AEW. Well, you could argue the women's division because they don't have many storylines going on at the moment, and they're taking their time to slowly develop the division.
Well, we could say that, but then again, we don't really want them to rush it, do we?
No, I'd rather them take their time,
I would.
and Sheeta's doing really well as champion. So
I know they've got the women that they have, but I think they just need like I don't know, someone like a Charlotte Flair style or Becky Lynch to come in to sort of make everyone elevate the game a bit. But can we see AEW getting someone like that? Not exactly saying they need Charlotte and Becky because even if they do, which they don't, they will never get them. It's a case of you need someone of that caliber.
there's more than enough on the indies. Like there's cheerleader Melissa, who used to be Alyssa Flash.
Oh
There's
yeah,
Mischief.
I remember her.
So there's a number of talent they can bring in. Shimmer has like some of the best female wrestlers.
Hmm. Oh yeah, here's one for you, Hideo Katami.
Definitely underrated.
His problem was he went into NXT and he just got injured all the time. That was that was the problem, and I really felt sorry for him.
And now he's slaying it in New Japan.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many of these people who have left WWE and actually physically done well when they've had the opportunity, that has made higher ups in WWE scratch their heads and think, why did we let them go?
Probably a lot of them. We've seen like EC3. Punk got over when they didn't want him to get over.
Daniel Bryan, he got over.
Christian.
Yeah. to be fair, with Christian's problem was everyone just literally said he was Edge's brother. That was his biggest problem, but he still did a lot. He still went over to Impact and made a name for himself.
Exactly. Jeff Jarrett took the money that he got and just started Impact. And
to be fair, Jeff Jarrett has always been a case of he was. I think the reason he was NWA World Champion for as long as he had is because it was his company.
I think more so because he was the biggest name there. He had to carry the company on his back as the biggest heel, so we could get like AJ Styles, R-Truth, and all of them.
How many reigns did he have? To bear in mind, I didn't watch TNA's early years. So I don't think it was available. It's 6 years.
He had 6 NWA title reigns.
It's only when basically they redesigned NWA left that when they brought Kurt Angle in, that was the time where everyone sort of had a fair crack at the whip.
I think it was 2008 when they established their own world title. Because Ken Shamrock was their first ever champ.
But they just literally went through champions like anything back then.
And they were doing, I think, those weekly pay-per-views.
But then again, look, it got them quite far. Unfortunately, what happened. Is there anyone on Impact that we think could do with a bit of a push?
I think Kimberly, if she got a bigger push than right now, if she was chasing the gold, she definitely could use a big push because she's amazing in the ring, and I feel like when she was with WWE, she should have went further.
I kind of missed the whole Undead saga with Sun Yang and Rosemary.
That was a fun time, and we need more like big personalities like that coming in the divisions. Especially with COVID, we need more cinematic. We need more like a movie feel.
Yeah, because that's what I loved about them two going toe to toe with each other. It just kind of had a whole horror thing about it. And as anyone who knows me knows, as you know, I love my horror. That's what keeps me engrossed in it. That's why I watched it and loved it for so long. But it's like that's not there anymore, and it kind of. I mean, what's Rosemary doing now? Being Taya Valkyrie's hand friend, and Su Yang's now Susie. What is Susie doing nowadays? I don't even know if she. I don't know. What is she doing?
Well, Russell House randomly popped up and crashed the women's champions black tie gala event.
Oh, God. Oh yeah. Let's have to think for a minute. Can you think of anyone else for a minute? Because I can't. I'd literally next time we do this, we'd have to literally have like a week to prepare for this because I've got so many that I want to say, but nothing's coming into the brain at the minute.
I'm gonna give it to Darby Allin. He's probably my favorite AEW wrestler right now, next to Kenny Omega. Because people have been hard on him for his size, his look, and everything. And honestly, he's probably one of the most entertaining wrestlers in the ring. And I love that his finisher, he can hit it on anytime, anywhere, off the top rope. He can land on the apron and take you out with the coffin drop.
It's kind of like AEW's version of an RKO. Can hit you from anywhere.
Exactly.
Nice. So that's all we could think of for underrated. I'm sure if we do another one, we'll probably have a lot more next time. So, with that being said, from your two hosts here, our third one sends his love. We will see you for the overrated section.
We'll see you soon. Stay tuned.